Friends, how are you doing? It is Thursday, April 10th. So let's get right into it here. I don't want to piddle-paddle around. Obviously with this market right now, it is very touchy. I mean, this is a glass floor we're walking on here with this market. So, but with that too, I think people are seeing this one of two ways. They're seeing this as like, I'm staying away, or they're seeing this as, man, it's so easy to make a lot of money in this market right now. And I think that's where people really need to put their head. So, right now, Trump called off the tariffs essentially to 90 days until July. So what could that mean? When we think about this in a broad view, what does that mean? Essentially, tariffs have been pushed back for majority of nations until 90 days. Okay, but in July this is going to come back up. So we could have 3 months of just like the market being like, playing around, getting some higher ground, trailing back up a little bit. But no doubt the market's still going to be very touchy, 100%. So it does lead this, this question here: are we going to have 3 months of where we just play the market, where we're just on the low days we're buying, on the high days we're selling, and we're just building positions right now? Is that what we're looking at? Well, it's very possible that is what we're looking at here, 100%. So and I put Dan Ives on the thumbnail here because I was listening to Dan Ives today, and Dan was telling people he's still very in this realm of, we're going to see tech stocks do well this year, but they're with these tariffs and with what's going on, it could later in the year, and that's what a lot of people are expecting. Right now, there's not really gonna, these quarterlies that we're about to see with all of our tech stocks here in May, all these big tech stocks, with companies in general reporting here in May, they're gonna be good quarterlies because they haven't been affected with what's been going on here. So May could be a big rally for the market here, especially with the market having some breathing room here. Investors are going to be excited. We're going to see, so we could be going in some really nice numbers here going into May. Now with that, this is a situation where, like I said, I am a long-term investor with majority of my investing, but when I see what's going on with this market right now, it is obviously, it wants you to play it. I mean, 100% play the market right now. Play the news, buy buy it and sell the news. That's essentially what's going on here. Buy the hype, sell how that goes there. So you're looking at a situation. I mean, there's so many stocks that have been able to make people so much money this week with what's been going on. I have been trading stocks like the past 2 days, 100%. The S&P 500 here, it had an okay day. We had some sell-off later in the day, more tariff news coming out. The big issue right now is us and China. Is China going to back down, or are they going to keep, building up this wall where they're like, no, we're not, and we're going to find other ways to continue what we're doing? So that is one of the big things in the background right now. Are the Feds going to come out with a rate cut here in June? Or are they going to wait till July and see how these tariffs kick back in? That's a long ways away. 3 months is a long time from now to see what's, this could be a situation where, by June, people completely forget about the tariffs, and the market, could be doing significantly better at that point. And then by the time we get to the end of June and the beginning of July, we start talking about tariffs again, and people are like, what? Tariffs? I thought we were doing, and the market could crash again, 100%. So there is that kind of situation that could be occurring here, 3 months from now. Amazon, a lot of our stocks are in this range of, they're look at these. Every stock right now almost has the same pattern. I mean, it's just every stock right now is following the market. I mean with S&P, the Dow, everything. It's just like, it's so obvious where people need to be finding money in the market. It's such an opportunity to start building on top of positions, buying low, selling high, repeating that, process over and over on a weekly basis and what you can. Obviously, be careful. Don't become impatient with what's going on, because there's plenty of room in this market. This market is not going to get away from you. That's the main thing you need to realize. This market is not going to take off. It's not going to be like a November, December market where it's just like, oh my God, I can't catch it. No. That is probably gone for the majority of the time, as we know right now. This is like a news-fed market where it's one day to the next at 100%. Three bank stocks that I'm very obsessed with right now. You have NU Holdings, very much a great company into the future for a long-term building position there. A lot of wiggle room there, building, buying, selling. Then you have Robinhood. Just Robinhood. That right there, what is the future of Robinhood? What do we know? Well, we know Robinhood obviously is, essentially like, everyone has Robinhood probably on their phone. If you trade stocks, whether you have stocks on Robinhood or not, you probably have it downloaded on your phone and you use it. It's a great resource. I know people like Robinhood. Either way, Robinhood is fierce competition in the trading world. The majority of traders use it from, average to, I know people that have Robinhood and they have, you would not believe how much money they have on their Robinhood account, okay? There's nothing wrong with Robinhood, but Robinhood now is, announcing that they're going into the banking system where they're pushing into that. And, and this is where people are like, well, why would you buy Robinhood or why would you buy SoFi when you can buy Robinhood? And vice versa, I'm sure there's people out there too. When we look at SoFi, I think undoubtedly you want to, where's the most meat on the bone for investors right now? I would most likely say SoFi. SoFi obviously being pretty torn apart here with what's going on in the market. SoFi has a lot of good news that we know is coming up. Robinhood just now getting into this, building this infrastructure of like, hey, we're going to do the bank thing. We're going to be a bank where, we're talking about loans, credit cards, that it's going to take a moment for them to really build on that. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some money. And this is like a crazy year to be starting that too. So I think they're going to do well into the future, obviously, but I look at SoFi and I go, SoFi, the past 5-6 months, it's had amazing deals. SoFi has been doing amazing in quarterlies. They haven't missed one. This new one coming up here in May, Q1, this could be the quarterly where they hit $1 billion, if not become very close. So SoFi has all of this room to grow with stock share price, capturing new attention with investors, and really moving into this zone later, sometime in the near future where we could easily be talking about SoFi moving into like the S&P 500, somewhere like that. SoFi's not going anywhere. That's what people have to realize. This is not a company. This is not a stock that's going to start having trouble as from what the evidence that we can see right now. This year undoubtedly should be a very good earning year for SoFi. Why wouldn't it be? People still have to open bank accounts. People are still, the business is there with SoFi, 100%. But these three stocks, these are three healthy companies. These are very, stocks that I would recommend building positions into, trading back and forth. Like I said, you have to understand what's going on in this market right now to where it's going to allow you to make money, make gains, make money on, SoFi, put that money right back in it and keep pushing those numbers. This is a very volatile market, but in a volatile market, you can make a lot of money and you can really compound a position with money. And this is a situation where when the market finally straightens out, when all this tariff stuff gets, situated, the market will start to find, just a natural organic life again. And that's when you're going to go, oh, thank God I kept compounding these positions. I kept going with it, because there's going to be a moment where stocks can just start to run up again. We just see a growth on stocks again. Now, like I said, May could be pretty good here. May could be pretty aggressive with growth in the market. Obviously, there's a big question mark there. Is the tariff stuff going to come back up? Obviously, the majority of it, no, from what we're seeing. The biggest one is China. What are we going to do with the China situation? That could come up any day and crash the market 100%. It happened today. So it's really just a moment of, that is the big question mark out there right now, 100%. A lot of people feel better that, recession is kind of out of the window at this point. The bond market seems to be safe at this moment. Treasury, all that. It's just a situation of this. It's a new direction in the market, 100%. And, we, as an investor, there's ways to play this, Or you can just keep buying it, your stocks that you like, and storing them up 100%. Either way, long term you will find success in this market, but I would highly say be a part of what's going on with all this. And then 3 stocks that, two I think will have a really good year. One is still a question mark, but the one that's a question mark obviously is Big Bear. I don't want to talk about Big Bear too much because I've talked about it so much, but Big Bear is fighting for its life right now, is fighting for its life. And this could all change if Big Bear could capture one more nice, attractive deal. It would obviously solidify a great year, financially, quarterly here for Big Bear. 100%, it would really do well for them. But it is still a situation where this market, with not having stable legs under it, it's hard for low cap stocks. It's hard for companies right now that don't have a lot of good news attached to them to really survive here. Big Bear obviously, has good news. There's the government contracts. Those are very big positives with it, and that's why the stock has been able to survive. And it's found $3 range here more than once here as of the last few weeks. But it is a situation where they're going to have to pick up the pace here with capturing more deals. Really the quarterly that's coming up here very soon with them. Hopefully they at least come very close to hitting their quarterly. If not hitting it, going over it by just even the smallest percent would be nice. But it would show that the rest of the year we should see more growth in this company. Listen, I'm not hoping a lot for Big Bear this year other than they pay off more debt. They capture maybe more deals, obviously, and that the stock at least survives this year without a reverse split, anything like that, and we can see Big Bear in the year here anywhere from a $5 to $6 stock price. Palantir, May, quarterlies coming up here. These could be the biggest quarterlies we've ever seen here. This is going to be Q1, so this is going to tell us how the rest of the year, at least, deeper into the year, is going to go here for Palantir. So I would not be surprised if the market starts to show life here. It's really this, tomorrow, Friday, is going to be pretty much we're done with the week. I'm curious to see what will happen tomorrow. This is a situation, in a normal market, you could say, here's probably what's going to happen tomorrow in the market. But the situation of what we're dealing with right now is just the market is moving off of news every day. The market, it's really, what did Trump say today? What did these other countries say about us and the tariffs and retaliation, all that? So the market is, like I said, we're walking on pins and needles. We're walking on a glass floor right now with this market. Positive news will shoot it up. Negative news will, it will fall through the floor. And that's what we're seeing right now. So even Palantir, the movement on Palantir, if you're trading that back and forth, is unreal right now, the money that you can make on that. But going deeper into April here, seeing the market kind of, be okay here, we could easily see Palantir bleed into $100 again. This could be a triple-digit stock here before we know it 100%. Dan Ives, everyone is still very, very calling for Palantir to be a heavy-hitting stock this year, 100%, as what we can tell right now. So I would not count Palantir out at all. There's a reason why Palantir is easily staying in this $80, almost $90 range here on a good day, at good days in the market at this point. There's a reason why it's still a very expensive stock, because we know what's coming here. And if they execute these quarterlies again and this becomes $1 billion quarterly or more, whew, man, this thing is going to run big. It is going to run big. And then SoundHound. SoundHound is a stock that I've been talking about since it was $1.50, $2, and it has 2024 was an amazing year for this company, for this stock, everything, investors. And the fact that SoundHound is holding this $7, $8 range, I think it's quite amazing. It's just really amazing that this stock is doing so well. As far as we know, SoundHound should continue to prosper this year. 100%. I'm going to try to put more of a detailed video together, what's been going on with SoundHound, but we should see SoundHound continue into some good quarterlies this year. We've seen no big negatives in the company, no dramas come out with them. So as far as we know, Q1 here that's going to come out should be pretty good here with SoundHound. But like I said, our Q1s coming up here in May for a lot of companies, they should still be good. It's really the Q2s and Q3s that could be a little scary here, especially Q3, Q4s later in the year. But Q1, this is why, May could be such a big rally for the market. A lot of these are going to start coming out towards the end of April, like the last week, but especially the first week, of May. This is why we could see some big rallies in the market here just in 3 weeks, with what's coming. So, like I said, I think this is the time to, start building some positions, and then 2 weeks, 3 weeks from now, really lock in some positions, because there's going to probably be some really nice gains here towards the end of the month. So yeah, friends, listen, I'm excited. These are the kind of markets where they can make you pull your hair out, but they also, at the same time, they can make you a lot of money if you're willing to be patient, in the morning, throughout the day, in the afternoon, and find new positions, sell, buy, and push those right back into your positions and rinse and repeat that situation. There's a lot of room in this market right now. Listen, this kind of situation is not going to be around forever. It is not going to be around forever with the volatility of this market, okay? Because there could come a situation. Listen, back in back in December, January, November, I remember I was kind of complaining, because I was like, God almighty, things are so expensive in this market. You really got to search for a deal. We could be in that situation where it's like, oh, man, Palantir, I don't want to pay $120, $30 for Palantir. This is a situation where we're at right now, where, a time frame away from now, later on, short term, long term, we could find ourselves back in a very, stable, healthy market where things are very expensive again. So, obviously this time is very touch go, but know too, this is the time when you start building. Whether you have $5, $500, $1,000, you want to make sure you're pushing into the market 100%. Listen, if you got $5, you can easily trade that thing, day trade it, trade it throughout the week. But I would tell you, play it safe with companies that are doing well, and that they're going to give you your money back, okay? So friends, I wish everyone the best of luck with this market. I really do. I want to see everyone succeed with what's going on right now. These markets are what changes your life over time, 100%. And I'm excited. Friends, I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.